Hi makers! Today we're going to learn how to insert a letterbox zipper. You can check out my other videos to see how to make the pouch. We're going to start though today by looking at the zipper itself. So your outer fabric should be right side up, your lining fabric right side down. Widthways, fold your lining fabric in half and run a hot iron over the crease. Placing your lining fabric back right side down, I would suggest now marking the crease that you've just made with either some chalk or a fabric pen. Placing the zipper on the central line that you've created, we need to measure the ends of the zipper itself, not the zipper tape. This is essential as the opening we're making needs to be 1/2 centimetre longer than the zipper itself, not the whole zipper tape. The width of the opening needs to be 1/2 centimetre wider than your zipper pull. Using the central line that you created as a guide, we're now going to draw our letterbox opening, mapping it out from the measurements you've just taken from the zip. In my case, my zip teeth in length measure 25 centimetres, therefore I'll be adding a 1/2 centimetre onto that. The width of my zipper pull is 1 centimetre and I'll be adding a 1/2 centimetre onto that too. So my dimensions fully will be 25.5 centimetres times 1.5 centimetres. Just to be clear, the fold line of the fabric that we made earlier will run centrally down the length of the thin rectangle shape that we've just marked out for the zipper. As you can see, I'm just putting a few pins around the rectangular area that we marked out just to hold the two layers of fabric together. Here you can see the guidelines for my letterbox opening in pink. Before we make any cuts, we're going to sew around the guidelines that we've just marked out on the fabric with a simple straight stitch. Take your time sewing the opening, there's no rush and we want to get it exactly right so that the product at the end looks really neat and professional. When you get to the corner and sew in a different direction, make sure your needle is down in the fabric, lift your foot and rotate the fabric to the new direction that you want to sew. You can see me doing that here. When you finish sewing, this is what your sew line should look like. Now we're going to start cutting, so fold your fabric piece like this with the lining side out, and using the guides that you'll still be able to see, make a 3 centimetre cut along the central fold line that we marked earlier. With the fabric opened out again, carry on cutting along the central line until around 1 centimetre before the end. I would suggest watching this section of the video a couple of times before you make your cut. At either end of the opening, we're going to make a V cut, which looks like this. It's important to cut as near to your stitching as you possibly can, but not through it. I'm now going to do the same at the other side of the opening. You can see me cutting near to the stitching but not through it. Now we've made our cuts, just have a quick press with an iron. I'm just showing you here where you need to press. The letterbox part of this project will now become clear as we're going to post the fabric through the opening that we've just made. It can be a little bit tricky, but you just have to persevere, pulling the fabric through and making the edges look as neat as you possibly can. I'd used quite a heavy duty interfacing in this project, So it's taking me a little bit longer to line all the edges up and make sure everything looks as it should do. At this point, honestly, I was kind of wishing I'd used a softer interface. This was quite challenging, but eventually I got there, and this is the result. Once you're happy with how your opening looks, give it a press with a hot iron. What I like about this zipper opening is that you can leave a slightly decorative edge. You can see here that the floral fabric is just showing through. If you pull the lining tighter, you can get rid of that decorative edge. Double-sided tape is a great way to position the zipper just before you sew it. Put a thin strip of tape along each side of the zipper tape. You only need a thin piece on each side, so I'm just going to cut the sellotape lengthways in half. So now the tape's attached, we're going to position the zipper into the opening. You want to make sure that your fabric is outer fabric right side up, and your zipper is going to be placed behind it with the zip pull coming through the opening. Just take a few moments to make sure that you're happy with the positioning of the zipper, and as you can see, I'm going to start pressing down so that the zipper is attached with the tape to the inside of the fabric. Once you're happy with the positioning of the zipper, we're then going to sew all the way around the opening. Just a reminder to have your zipper foot on your sewing machine. Ideally, you should be sewing no more than 1/2 centimetre from the edge of the opening. It's worth backstitching a few times over the narrow ends of the opening to make sure that the zipper is held in place securely. When you get to your zipper pull, make sure your needle's down, lift your foot up, move your zipper pull past the needle, and then you can continue to sew. And you're on the home straight with the last few stitches. And there you have it, a neat and professional letterbox zipper. If you'd like to see more tips, tricks and tutorials, please consider subscribing to my channel.